Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Am I the Asshole? If you love hearing Reddit tales, it would really support the channel if you could give a thumbs up or subscribe. Now, let's dive into our first story right away. Am I the asshole for not giving my sister my wife's clothes? My wife was a corporate lawyer and mediator. She had some very nice work clothes. She was diagnosed with ovarian cancer and was gone in 2 years. The last 6 months of her life were hell. My sister Sarah didn't do jack shit for us during that time. My wife never liked her. I do not like her. She is a selfish cow. At my wife's wake, she started asking about my wife's clothes, and I brushed her off. She wanted to pick out a few pieces to remember my wife by, and I ignored her. It's been 6 months, and I've attended my mom's birthday, but I'm still not in the mood to deal with people. Then Sarah comes, asking about my wife's clothes. I told her my wife wanted me to donate them to this women's shelter, and she often helped. It will help women in need with their own court cases, court appointments, and job interviews. My sister Sarah said my wife was even selfish in death. I asked her what the F did she mean, and she started going off on how my wife always thought she was better than her. And it's not far that the clothes are going to charity and not to family. I told my sister I would rather see my wife's clothes lit on fire than on her back. My sister started crying, and my mom came over to see what was wrong. My mom told me to be easy on my sister because she was talking about my wife's death hard. The effing insanity of that coming out of my mom's mouth made me grab my gift and leave. My mom acts like I had to ruin her birthday by being melodramatic, but I cannot believe their emotional blackmail towards me over effing clothes that they have no right to. Your wife was better than your sister, who has the character of well, you said it, a selfish cow. I'm very sorry for your loss. You are not being melodramatic. You are reacting to something ugly and insensitive in a very normal way. I think you might be wise to avoid your mother and sister for a while. Your sister may be forever. Her character isn't going to change, and she has no qualms about saying terribly hurtful things if she thinks they further her selfish goals. If there's a group for young bereaved spouses in your area, maybe through your religious denomination or through a community mental health center, you might find people there who are sensitive to what you're going through and can offer you kind peer support. Donate those clothes in your wife's name to the charity she supported as soon as you're ready to do so. Block your sister and your mother. The world is full of kind, supportive people who will offer you more of what you need than your blood relations. Please walk away. You've already gone through enough. Not the asshole. Not the asshole who asks for things at a person's wake. Like, how inconsiderate and ignorant can a person be? I am so sorry for your loss. I love that your wife wanted to donate her clothes to this organization, and I agree with this person's comment. Find a grief share support group. It literally saved me years ago. Check with locals churches. That's how I found grief share. My doctor was the one who recommended them to me. Not the asshole. Besides the fact that you're following your wife's wishes, your sister is acting like a vulture. And why is your mother worrying about your sister taking your wife's death hard when you were the one who lost their wife? So no, you are doing nothing wrong. You are still grieving. Your sister is treating you like a thrift store. And your mother is completely ignoring your grief because another family member is better at being dramatic. Not the asshole, it's your wife. How dare Sarah mention it at the funeral? Entirely selfish and classless and callous to your pain. And then to bring it up again and say, it's to remember your wife by. She doesn't care about your wife and never did. And then to insult your deceased wife by calling her selfish. Your mom is also a problem. Sarah is having a hard time with your wife's death? Really? Not you, the husband? I'm sorry, but your sister and your mom suck. You should reevaluate why they're in your life and if they deserve to be. Am I the asshole for telling my family I'm my own person and not a walking tribute to my great-grandpa? When I, 17 male, was born, my parents decided to honor my dad's grandpa by naming me after him. Grandma was Thomas Tom, and I was named Thomas too. He died when I was 2 weeks old. He'd been sick for a long time, so everyone saw me as this tribute to him, his namesake, and all kinds of stuff. But there's a really sensitive topic that has been a pain in my ass for a while, and more people are airing their dislike about it. So Great-Grandpa Thomas was Tom to friends, family, and stuff. He never really used Thomas. I never did either, but since I was a little kid in elementary school, I've been Tommy, not Tom. It shouldn't be a big deal, but everyone in the family finds it disrespectful that I don't use Tom. They call me Tom. They tell me Great-Grandpa was Tom. They said I was named to honor him, and if I don't use the same nickname, it's not honoring him, it's making me seem totally separate. My parents told me Tommy sounds like a little boy anyway, and I should be ready to start using Tom. I told them anyone can be Tommy. They didn't like that. My parents hosted a barbecue a few days ago, and my family heard others call me Tommy, which set them off. When everyone not related to us left, my family turned on me and asked me why I have to shit all over Great-Grandpa's honor. Why do I have to reject his name? That's when I told them I'm my own person and not a walking tribute to him. I said I deserve to have my own name and not to live with whatever nickname he chose to go by. I told them I'm not him and will never be him. Everyone said I was so disrespectful to his memory and to them, and I had no business talking back to them like that. Am I the asshole? Your dad's grandpa isn't there for them to show him their love anymore. But you are right there in front of them, and they aren't showing you any love. AITA, hard agree? You get to choose the name variation that works for you. You are more than just a tribute. It's entirely possible that you could have moved on to Tom at a later date, or even now, if they hadn't been pressuring you to be their replacement grandpa this whole time. Plus, as Great-Grandpa died 2 weeks after you were born, you couldn't be the reincarnated version of him anyway, so they need to let it go. Joke. I have no idea how reincarnation works. Not the asshole. I'd start threatening to change my name to Bob to honor someone else's great-grandpa if they don't stop. Returning to suggest another option of going full grandpa and start airing Big Tom's true feelings of everyone as the conduit of his paranormal voice. Where do your family's expectations end? Do they expect you to get the same job as your dead great-grandpa? Marry a woman of the same name? Have the exact same number of children and name them the same thing? Every grown-up has a right to be called what they want, and even some children in healthy households are allowed that grace. I'm sorry, you've been yoked with your family's need for you to be who you're not. It's genuinely weird that they acknowledge Great-Grandpa Tom had the right to not use Thomas, but think you should be forced to use a name a man you never met chose to use 100 years ago. The good news is you're close to being out of the house, and you can practice this phrase. That sounds like a you problem because I like my name, and that's all that's important. As for Tommy sounding like a boy, Tommy Lee Jones begs to differ, not the asshole. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.